couple sentenced to 375 years collectively for forcing Black children to work as slaves. A West Virginia jury has convicted a couple of neglect and forced labor involving their adopted children, including locking some in a shed, making them sleep on the floor, and forcing them to use buckets as toilets. Jeanne K. Whitefeather was found guilty on all 19 counts, including forced labor, civil rights violations, human trafficking, and child neglect. Her husband, Donald Ray Lantz, was convicted on 12 out of 16 counts, but was acquitted of 4 civil rights violations. The trial, which began in mid-January, concluded after 8 hours of jury deliberation on Wednesday. Whitefeather and Lantz, both white, were accused of mistreating their 5 adopted children, all of whom are Black. The couple had adopted the siblings while living in Minnesota before moving to a farm in Washington in 2018 and later relocating to West Virginia in May 2023. At the time, the children were between 5 and 16 years old. Authorities arrested the couple in October 2023 after neighbors reported seeing Lantz locking the eldest girl and her teenage brother in a shed before leaving the property. A deputy forced the door open with a crowbar. Inside the main house, a 9-year-old girl was found alone and crying in a loft without any protection from falling. Another child was with Lantz when he returned, while deputies later found the youngest daughter. The children were discovered wearing dirty clothes and smelling of body odor. The eldest boy, found barefoot, had apparent sores on his feet. Child Protective Services took custody of all 5 children after the arrests. Neighbors testified that they rarely saw the children play and often witnessed Lantz making them perform difficult chores, such as lifting heavy objects. After Lantz noticed the neighbors' curiosity, the children were kept indoors more frequently. During the trial, the couple's eldest daughter, now 18, testified that in Washington, they were forced to dig with their hands and were fed mainly peanut butter sandwiches. She described harsh punishments, including being made to stand in their rooms for hours with their hands on their heads. She and her brother had to share a bucket as a toilet while the other held up a sheet for privacy. The children slept on the floor and rarely bathed. Lantz defended the chores as a way to teach responsibility, while Whitefeather's lawyer claimed the oldest boy had tried to run away, justifying the lock on the shed. Whitefeather described the shed as a teenager hangout and claimed the children had access to a key, but testimony showed they didn't know where it was. Detectives later found it hidden on top of a cabinet. Prosecutors argued that the couple's treatment of the children was about control rather than discipline. These kids weren't there to be raised as children, but served another purpose entirely, Kanawha County Assistant Prosecutor Chris Kriveniak said in closing arguments. The whole point of treating them this way is they become less than human, he added. They become more like machines. That way they're more useful. How do you do that to someone you love? Prosecutors also presented racist text messages they attributed to Whitefeather, though she denied writing them. The eldest daughter testified that Whitefeather frequently used racial slurs and refused to eat from the same plates as the children, calling them dirty. Assistant Prosecutor Madison Tuck pointed to the defendants, telling the jury, "You want to know what racists look like? Look at them." The defense argued that the couple was overwhelmed by the children's mental health issues and the lack of support from child welfare agencies. Lantz's attorney, John Balanovic, claimed that the state's child welfare system failed the family. However, Tuck countered that the couple never sought help for the eldest boy's mental health problems in West Virginia, despite a behavioral health clinic being just 4 minutes from their home. A forensic psychologist testified that the couple's actions had worsened the children's psychological conditions. The eldest boy, who had a physical altercation with Whitefeather in 2022, is now receiving full-time psychiatric care. Whitefeather's attorney, Mark Plants, argued that the couple was guilty only of poor parenting decisions. "These are farm people that do farm chores," he said. "It wasn't about race. It wasn't about forced labor." The couple's actions have not only shattered the lives of these children, but also highlighted the horrific reality of modern-day slavery, with the court's decision offering a glimmer of justice for the victims. Crime never sleeps, and neither do we. Subscribe for more shocking cases.